Hi, so this is my second video where I talk about why caring about politics is important, and I want to talk about how even if you don't care about politics, they still impact you. They still impact your life and your day to day and your opportunities and your future. And I think that one of the biggest misconceptions people get about politics is that they're optional. In this day and age and in our society, they're just not. You can say, I just don't do politics, or it's just not really my thing, but politics doesn't care that you said that. It's still going to impact your life. Politics is complicated and hard. It's not exactly viewed in the best light by society. It's exhausting. It's polarized, it's complicated, and a lot of the times it feels really impossible to actually make a difference. But the truth is that politics doesn't just stop affecting your life because you decide to just not take part in it, or if you just don't pay attention. Politics isn't just some separate world that only exists in Washington, D.C. Politics is a part of our everyday lives. It's the price of groceries, it's whether you can afford college or not, it's your commute to work, it's the roads you drive on your commute to work, it's public parks, public schools, healthcare, housing, your quality of life. Politics is just the process of deciding how we live together. And history shows that those decisions really do matter. For example, the Vietnam War. During the 1960s, when the Vietnam War was beginning, the draft age was 18. So young men could fight and die for our country. But in most states, these young men couldn't even vote until they were 21. That was the voting age, was 21. And that has a history of going back to Great Britain and the 13 colonies. Great Britain's, legal manhood age was 21. So then when people came over to the colonies in, the 1600s, we kind of just adopted that rule of you become an adult at 21. And that's just kind of is how it was. But people began to ask the question in the 1960s, if you're old enough to literally fight for your country, shouldn't you be old enough to vote? And that argument basically led to the 26th Amendment, which lowered the voting age to 18 in 1971. So think about that for a second. Millions of young Americans gained one of the most important rights for the health of democracy because ordinary people like you and I decided that political participation should match political responsibility. That wasn't just politics, happening in a basement in a, federal building on Capitol Hill. That was politics changing the lives of ordinary people. And that's still true today. Many of the decisions that affect your daily life don't happen on television. You can turn on CNN or Fox News or The Wire or the Associated Press, any of these things, and you're not going to see the decisions that get made that specifically impact your life. They're made by your city council, your state legislature, your school board. And the irony is that these local elections have the lowest voter turnout, even though they impact us most directly. The people who decide where your tax dollars go, what gets built in your community, how schools get funded, and what public services exist for people, the people who get to make those decisions, they're only elected by a small percent of eligible voters. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once called human beings political animals because we live in communities and we have to make collaborative decisions about how we want to live, about what we value, what we owe to one another, and what kind of future we want to create. Humans are not perfect. We're not angels. And so, at the very least, we do need some form of government or some kind of organization. And in America, we have our republic. We have our democracy, a government run by the people for the people. But that doesn't really hold true if the people aren't voting. That's like your one civic duty that you're assigned to do. It's actually kind of a privilege if we think about it. So I really don't know what y'all are doing, because if you vote on Love Island but haven't voted in an election, girl, get your priorities straight. And I mean that with love, but come on. We shouldn't care about Love Island more than we care about our community. Call me crazy, but nonetheless, politics is the decisions made at all levels of government, but the ones that we're really going to feel in our daily lives are the ones made down the block from us, at City Hall, at our state capitol. Politics aren't just the presidential elections that happen every 4 years, of which we still don't have great voter turnout for. I'm also not trying to say that politics should be your full personality, and that your political identity should be a huge part of who you are. It can be if you want it to, but it also doesn't have to be. You should have hobbies. If you want to vote on Love Island, you should vote on Love Island. You should spend time with your friends. You should read books. You should travel, you should listen to music, you should go outside and explore, or do whatever you want. It's your life. Because you are more than your political beliefs. But being a good citizen means understanding that the world around us didn't just happen by accident. The district you live in, the community that you reside in, didn't just appear. People built it, people argued about it, people voted on it, people fought for the rights that you and I take for granted every day. And now it's our turn, because democracy is not a spectator sport. You don't have to be an expert. You don't need to be studying political science. You don't need an opinion on every issue. And you certainly don't need to be arguing with people in real life and online all day. But you should care. You should care about your community, because your community is going to impact you whether you care or not. Because like I said, whether you participate or not, politics will affect your life. And if history teaches us anything, it's that ordinary people have always had power of what comes next. So think about the people who fought for the voting age to be lowered from 21 to 18 when hundreds of thousands of young men were being drafted and dying for our country in a war that wasn't even being fought on our soil, and see how that impacts your daily life. Your ability to vote at 18 is thanks to those people in the 1960s who brought attention to that injustice. If you're a woman, thank the suffragettes who got the 19th Amendment. Think down to a more local level. Think down to who established your school system, whether you had a really great experience at school or a really bad one. That is how politics affects your life. Think about your neighborhood. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it well kept? Are the roads good? Are they new? Are they being maintained? In the winter, is the snow plowed right? Do you even know who your city councilman is? Do you know who your district attorney is? You don't need to, but if you do, it could help, because even though you don't know who your district attorney is, they exist, and that person is making choices that impact your life. So anyway, I hope if you take anything from this video, it's that whether or not you care about politics, politics impacts your life, okay? So now, make sure you vote, make sure that you stand up for the things you believe in, and just make sure to care, because whether or not you care, your life will be impacted. Thank you!